Thank you for joining me for another Spun Monday. Today we're going to talk about unproductive relationships. My advice to you is if you're in an unproductive dating relationship, stop wasting your time. Period. Because time, you can't get time once you lose it, right? So some of the time that you spend in that unproductive relationship, you're going to learn some lessons. But what I find is that some people learned a lesson and they keep learning it and learning it again. And they really want to get out of an unproductive relationship. So how do you do it, right? I say this to you. An unproductive relationship is not going to be beneficial. So think of the word unproductive. When you're in a relationship, it's supposed to produce something into your life, a positive result. It should be beneficial for both of you, not for one person, right? And, sometimes as women, we stay in things longer than we should because we were giving this emotion to nurture, right? And to take care of. But I tell you that whoever gentleman that you're with, he already has a mama, right? Stop trying to pour into someone that is not producing the fruits that you're looking for, And I didn't think I was going to have this conversation on a Spun Monday, but the scripture that came to mind to me to talk about was James 1 verse 8, where the Bible talks about a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. And by man, I mean male, female. By his, I mean he or her. And, I was saying, God, okay, how do I tie it into, unproductive relationships? What the Lord is trying to tell you here, and the revelation that came to me, is that many times we start off in a relationship, in a dating relationship, and we meet the person, we like them, then before you know it, you have the conversation, then, you're there for a couple of months, and then you're starting to like this person, behavior, personality start to unfold. And then, promises are made, promises are not kept. It's very important for a person when they give their word. The word is all that they have, right? But if you see a pattern of behavior where it's very consistent and it's something that you cannot live with, that's an unproductive relationship. Don't be afraid to walk away from that unproductive relationship. Unproductive relationship to me is like, think about magnets. I think magnets is the best analogy to use, right? A magnet can attract and it can also repel. And think about it. Think about the last great or your very first boyfriend, girlfriend that you met, right? When you really were into them, they're into you. You didn't have to go digging, looking, searching. It just happened. And I think that as human beings, we get older and we figure that we're going to have to, you're going to have to build a man or build a woman, right? To make a relationship work. That's too many work. I'm not God. You're not God. There's only one person that is allowed to do that, and that is God. So stop trying to build a man or try to build a woman in the person that you want them to be. The only person that you can change and you're the same is you, right? And it's either that person is going to compliment you or you're going to compliment him. Other than that, it's not going to work. And by compliment, I mean in one accord, where you set plans, you set the future, have conversations about the future, your do's and your don'ts, and it happened. But if you have to sit there and try to say, well, I'm going to wait and see if this person is going to change, don't do that to yourself. That's unproductive relationship. You're not getting the benefits. It's not giving you the results that you're looking for. Time is very important. You cannot get back time. So why stay into something that you're wasting your time? Don't do it to yourself. So with the magnet analogy, I say this. When you meet someone, I think right away we do know it. But I think sometimes people entertain it because they're afraid of being alone. It's okay to be alone. Being alone doesn't mean that it's just like you can't find anyone. That's not what being alone is. Loneliness is different. Alone is something else. Alone is where you're saying, you know what, I'm going to spend time to get to know myself. Loneliness is when you say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to shut everybody off, every friendship, everyone around me. Of course, you're going to get some kind of a loneliness there. So I said, don't shut yourself off because you can't find a woman, you can't find a man to spend time with. You have to, it's very important to get to know who you are, because by finding out who you are, now you know exactly what your do's or your don'ts are in a relationships. I find that people go out there and, you know, they change men, women like they change their underwear, literally, right? And I'm thinking to myself, wow, why do you want to put your heart through that pressure? Why do you want to make and break your heart in that fashion, opposed to just standing still and wait? I believe that true attraction, it will happen. It's not something that's forced, right? And you know, it comes back again. If many times relationship falls apart because of an unbroken promise. Someone said they were going to do something and they just never did it. And then the other person get frustrated, and then before you know it, the frustrated person is screaming at the person, and they're like, you're not the person that I thought you were. And then here you are in this cycle, right? Opposed to just saying, let me stop. This is not working for me. Let me wait. Let me find out who I am, what I want to be. I have a very good friend of mine. She's like an older mentor to me. And I remember her saying to me one day, she said, Cam, there's nothing worse than being with Mr. or Mrs. Wrong when Mr. and Mrs. Right shows up, right? And I want you to take that to heart. Why not take the time to get to know yourself first, so you know what you're looking for and what you are not looking for in a relationship. And when it's revealed to you what you want and what you don't want, don't try to build a man, build a female and said, hey, I'm going to make them the way they'll change. No, you're only responsible to change yourself. And on that note, I want to say thank you for joining me on another Spun Monday. Take time to embrace yourself. Remember, being alone at times doesn't mean loneliness, right? The alone time is where you get to really find out what you want out of life, what you want out of a relationship. Thank you for joining me for another Spun Monday. And I pray that God send you your spouse that you're looking for, and that you have the wisdom to wait for him to send him or her to you, and just have patience. You know, the Bible said they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Thank you for joining me for another Spun Monday, and be blessed.